everybody. We're at Youthquake Theater. I'm the artistic director, Abigail Dixon. I'm also playing the piano role this evening. A couple housekeeping things. Please turn off all cell phones, other electronic devices, etc., etc. There are restrooms down the hall. We will be selling food at intermission. And I guess that's about it. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
I come, great Malcolm.
Paddock calls.
Anon.
Fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air.
Fair.
What's floating down his back? He can report to Stevens by plate of the herald of new estate.
This is a sergeant, who like a good and hearty soldier fought his back captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say to the king the knowledge of the broil is thou didst lead it.
Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him, from the western isles of kerns and gallows glasses is supplied. And fortune, on his damned coral smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked with bloody execution, like valor's minion carved out his passage, till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
O valiant cousin, worthy gentlemen!
Whence the sun begins its reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders, so from that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark. No sooner justice had compelled these skipping currents to trust their heels, that the Norwegian lord, surveying vantage, with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault.
Dismayed not this, our captains, Macbeth and Banquo?
Yes, as sparrows eagles, or the hare the lion. If I say sooth, I must report, they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks, so they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe. Except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds, or memorize another Golgotha, I cannot say. But I am faint, my gashes cry for help.
So well thy words become thee as they wounds, they snap upon our goal. Go, make them citizens. Who comes here?
What is the of Ross?
When a case comes through his eyes, so should he look and seem to speak things strange.
God save the king. Whence came to that river fame? From Fife, great king, where Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. And Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the state of Cawdor, hath begun a dismal conflict, till that Bellona's bribery, Latin proof, confronted him with self-comparisons. Point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirit, and in conclusion, the victory fell upon us. Great happiness! Now that Sweno, Norway's king, craves composition, nor would we gain burial of his men, till at St. Combs and she dispersed to our general use $10,000. No more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title, be Macbeth. I'll see it done. What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Where
killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. Avaunt thee, witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master o'er the tiger, but in a sieve all hither sail, and like a rat without a tail. I'll do, and I'll do!
I'll give thee a one.
Thou'rt kind.
And I another.
I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know in the shipman's card. I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day lay upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary senates, 9 times 9, shall he dwindle, peak and pine. Though his buck cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have.
Show me, show me, show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb. Wrecked as homeward he did come.
A drum. Macbeth doth come.
We are sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about.
Thrice
to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace!
the
Charms wound up.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen. How far is go before us?
What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are aren't. Live you, or are you aught that men may question? You seem to understand me, by each note your choppy finger laying upon your skinny lips. You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis!
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor!
All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly ye show? My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction, of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems wrapped withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and see which way will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail!
Hail!
Hail! Lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not as happy, yet much happy.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail!
Stay, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By Sinno's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak! I charge you!
The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air, and what seemed corporal melted as breath into wind. Would they had stayed.
Were such things here as we can speak about? Have we eaten on the insane brute that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, what they not so?
With the self-same tuned words. Who's here?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in the viewing of the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst make, strange images of death. As thick as tale came post to post, and everyone to bear thy praises down before his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to care of thee to a sight, not pay thee.
And in earliest, for greater honor, I call thee, he hath made me from him, called thee Thane of Cawdor. For which edition, hail, worthy Thane, for it is thine.
What, can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the day who was left, but under heavy judgment there is that left which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or the mind of rebel with hidden help and vantage, I know not. But treasons happen on confess and prove of the Roman.
Wrongs. And Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
That trusted hope might yet entitle you into the crown, beside the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes it winneth to our harm. The instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, to betray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word of it.
Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. And thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why have they given me earnest success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion, whose horrid image doth affix my hair, and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man, that function is smothered in surmise. Nothing is, but what is not.
Look how our partner's rapt.
If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him, like our strange garments, leave not to the mold, but to be at use.
Come what, come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, to stay upon your leisure.
Give me your pardon, my dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered, where every day we turn the leaf to read them. Let us draw the king, think upon what hath chanced, and that sometime the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts each to the other.
Very gladly.
Till then enough. Come, friends. His execution done on Cawdor, are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back, but I spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly confessed his treasons, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. He died as one in heaven studied in his death, to throw away the dearest thing he owed, a short, careless trifle.
There's no art to find the man's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Oh, worthiest cousin, the sin of my infection even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before that swiftest wave of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say more is thy due than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing peace itself. Your highness' part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growth. Noble Banquo thou hast no less deserved, nor must be known no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There where I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland. Which honors must not unaccompanied in testimony, but signs of nobleness, like stars shall shine on all the service. Perhaps to burn is mine is for the few.
The rest is labor which is not used for you. myself the harbinger, and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave, my worthy Cador. Prince of Cumberland, that is a step from which I must fall down, or else I'll leap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires, let no light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink of the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see. True, worthy Banquo, he is so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to make. Let's after him, which care has gone before, to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman. They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before this weird sister saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time, with hail king that shalt be. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Longs thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear my nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest wag. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou wholly, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly wit. Thou wouldst have great longs, that which cries, thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do, than wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him? Who, were it so, would have been formed for preparation.
So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead from breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending. He brings great fears. The raven himself is hoarse, which croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts. Unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wounded face, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. Great globs, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by all their laughter, thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel my future really is.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. They are welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for. And you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall, to all our nights and days to come, give solely sovereign sway and master them. We will speak further. Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me. This castle has a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself to your identical sentiments.
This guest of summer, the temple hunting market, does approve by his loving mention that the heaven's breath smells moving here. No jutty, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Where thy most breeding haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate.
See, our honored hostess. The love that followed us sometime is our trouble, which we still think as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God hold us for your pains and thank us for your troubles. All our service, in every point twice done and then done double. We're poor in single business to contend against those honors, deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house. To those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits. Where is that Thane of Cawdor? We course him as a heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath pulled him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight. Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in common? To make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own. Give me your hand and conduct me to my host. We love him highly, and shall continue our gracious program. By your leave, hostess.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success. But that this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here. That we but teach bloody instructions which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I'm his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity like the naked newborn babes driving the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless corners of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye that tears, shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick besides my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. How now, what news?
He has almost stopped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
No, not he has.
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale, and what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love, art thou afeared to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the attic?
Piggy, peace! I dare to all that may become a man, and dares do more is none.
What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out had I so sworn as you have done to this.
We should fail!
We fail. But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. When Doctor is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his two chamberlains will I, with wine and wassail, so convince that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a few, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only, when in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted men should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his chamber, and use their very daggers that they have done it?
Who dares to receive it other, when we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death?
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide, false heart must know.
How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock.
And she goes down at 12.
I think it is later, sir.
My sword. There's husbandry in heaven. The candles are all out. Take me that too. A heavy summons lies like lead upon me, but I would not sleep. Merciful powers, restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Give me my sword. Who's there?
A friend.
Well, sir, my dear friend. The king's in bed. We have been to your usual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your office. This dining to greet your wife and fall by the name of most kind hostess, and shut up the measureless contempt.
Being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which us should free him from.
Oswald. The Jean Claude minded the three weird sisters. To you they have shown some truth.
I think not of them. Yet when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some words upon that business, if you would grant me time.
At your kindest leisure.
If you shall plead to my consent when 'tis, I shall make honor for it.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and the legions clear. I shall be counseled.
Good repose the wire.
Thanks, sir. Like to you.
Go bid thy mistress, when my drink is ready, she strike upon the bell. Get thee to bed. Is a dagger that I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not. And yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth of the rest. I see thee yet, among thy blade and
that informs thus to mine eyes. Now, where the one half-world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep, witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder alarmed by the sentinel, the wolf, whose houses watch thus, with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Though sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear the very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present poor from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives. Words the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is an air that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark, peace. It was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman which croaks the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drugged their possums, which death and nature do contend about them whether they live or die. Who's there? What? Oh, alack! I am afraid they have awaked, and 'tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark! I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss him. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband.
I've done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended?
I.
Who lies in the second chamber?
Donalbain.
This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to say a sorry sight.
There's one did laugh and sleep, and one cried murder, that they did wake each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and dress them again to sleep.
There are two of them lodged together.
One cried, God bless us, and amen the other, as they had seen me with these hangman's hands, listening their fear. I could not say amen when they say God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth is word of sleep, the innocent sleep, sleep that knits out the ruffled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, sleep no more to all the house. The lambs have murdered sleep, and therefore cotters shall sleep no more, Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? My worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain-sickly of things. Go, get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hands. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go, carry them, smear the sleepy rooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think what I have done. Look on it again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose, give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? How is't with me, when every noise upholds me? What hands are here? Ha! They pluck out mine eyes. Oh, great Neptune's ocean, wash the blood clean from my hand. No, this my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber, a little water clears us of this deed.
How easy is it then? Your constancy hath left you unattended. Hark! More knocking. Get on your nightgown, lest occasion call us and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed, 'twere best not to know myself. Wake thou king with thy knocking, and what thou comest.
Here's the knocking indeed. If a man were a porter of Hellgate, he would have old turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Ah! Knock, knock. Who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Faith. Here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in time. Have napkins about you now. Here you'll sweat for it. Knock! Knock! Who is there? In the other devil's name. Faith. Here is an equivocator that could swear in both the scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for God's sake, but could not equivocate to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, knock. Who is there? Faith. Here's Here's an English tailor, come hither for stealing out of a French hose. Come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. Knock, knock. Never it's quiet. What are you? Well, this place is too cold for help. I'll double porter it no further. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to everlasting bonfire. Nose painting, sleep, and urine. Flattery, sir. It provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away performance. Therefore, what spring may be said to be an equivocator with flattery. It makes him, and it mars him, it sets him on, and it takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him, makes him stand to and not stand to. In conclusion, equivocates him in his sleep, and, giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe Drink gave me the lie last night.
That it did, sir, and the very throat on me. But I requited him for his lie, and I think being too strong for him, though he made a shift to castle.
Is thy master stirring?
Oh.
Our knocker has wakened. Here he comes.
Good morning, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy thing?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know this is a joyful pleasure to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labor we delight in physics, please. This is the door.
I will make the bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
Does the king have spirit?
He does. He did appoint, sir.
The night has been unruly. Very glad our chimneys were blown down. And as the silent mentions were in the air, strange screams of death, prophesying access terrible, of dire combustion, confused events, new hatched, a woeful time. The obscure bird, clamored the livelong night. Some say they are conspicuous in their shape.
'Twas a rough night.
My remembrance, not parallel fellow to
Oh, horror! 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 Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murderers broke up the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the builder.
What is you say the light?
meaning, His Majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight with new Gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See and speak yourselves. Awake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! Banquo and Donalbain! Malcolm, awake! Shake off this downy sleep, death's counterfeit, and look on death itself. Up and see the great doom's image. Banquo, Malcolm, as from your graves rise up and walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell!
What's the business of such a hideous trumpet cries to parlay the sleepers of the house? Speak, speak.
Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell. Oh, Banquo, Banquo, our royal master's murdered.
Woe, alas, what, in our house?
Too cruel anywhere. And dear death, I prithee contradict thyself and say it is not so.
I may have died an hour before this chance I had lived a blessed time. For now there's nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys, renown and grace is dead, the wine of life is gone, and the mere lees is left this vault to brag of. But this, you are and do not know it. The spring, the egg, the fountain of your blood is stopped, the very source of it is stopped.
Your royal father is murdered.
Oh, by whom?
Those of his chamber and seemed to have done it. Their hands and faces were badged with blood, as were their daggers and wipes we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I had killed them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate, and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The violent exposition of my love outrun the cause of reason. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his gold and blood, and his gashed stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There, the murderers steeped in the colors of their trade, their daggers unmerrily breached with gore. Who could refrain? That had a heart to love, and in that heart courage to make his love known.
Help me hence! Help! Look to the lady.
Why do we hold our tongues once we claim his argument for arms?
What should we smoking here? We are fate, even the autumn, when reaction sees us. Let's away. She is not yet rude, nor strong for our
Upon the good
forsake us. In the great hand of God I stand, and against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous mouths.
And so will I.
So, let's briefly put our manly readiness and meet in the hall together.
Well contented.
What will we do? We're talking to showing unfelt stars and opposite the false man is easy. All to England.
To Ireland, outside Bertie Fultrum shall make us focus with us. Where we are, there's daggers and many smiles. The near and life we will find.
This murderous shaft is shot and not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore, to horse, and let us not be dainty with leave taking, but shift away. There's war in that theft which steals itself, and there's no mercy left.
He's already named and got his stone to be invested.
Where's Duncan's body?
Carried to Comilco, the sacred storehouse of his predecessor and guardian of their bones.
Will you just go?
No, cousin, I'll to five.
Well, I was later.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old room sit easier than our new.
Farewell, Father. God's medicine go with you and with those who shall return it back, and friends and foes.
Thou hast it now. King, Cawdor of Glamis, all as the weird women promised. And I fear that name was foul before it. Yet it was said that it should not stand in thy posterity, and that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, why, by the very reason they make good, would it not be my oracles as well, and set me up to hope?
Here's our chief guest. If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gathering on a great feast, and all thing unbecommon. Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with the most indissoluble tie, forever.
Where are you this afternoon?
I'm a good lord.
We should have else requested your good advice, which doth been both grave and prosperous in this day's council. But we'll take it tomorrow. Is it far you ride?
That's fine, my lord, if you fill up the time for this distant subject. Go not my horse the better, I must become a borrower of the night before God shall overthrow.
Field on our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state, praying and story. Hide your horse, I do, till you return. No slay on me.
I'm a good lord. Our time is called upon.
I wish your horses swift and surefoot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make the society the sweeter welcome, we will till supper time keep ourselves alone. Well then, God be with you. Here, a word with you. Attendants, my lord,
Stay on, my lord, without the tell escape.
bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There's none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters, when first they put the name of king upon me, and bid them speak to him. Then prophet-like they hailed them father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rankers in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate unto the list, and champion me to the utterance. Who's here? Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, my highness.
Well then, have you considered of my speeches?
Aye, my lord.
Both of you know Banquo is your enemy.
True, my lord.
So is he mine, and in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. And though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight, and bid my will of object, yet I must not, for certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop but wail his fall, whom I myself struck down. And thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform as you command us.
Though our
Your
lives.
spirits shine through. Within this hour at most, I'll advise you where to plant yourselves. Acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on it, for it must be done tonight. And something from the palace gate always thought that I require a clearance. And with me, to leave no rubs nor botches in the work. Fleance, his son, who keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's. You must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
I'll call upon you straight. Abide within. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
Is Banquo gone from court?
And but returns again tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words. Knots had, all spent, where our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone, if sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on? Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We've scorched the snake, not killed it. Shall close and be herself, whilst our poor malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, both the world suffer. Ere we will eat our meal in fear, and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Let her be with the dead, and we to gain our peace have sent to peace. than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice, domestic, foreign, levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord. Sleek over your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among our guests tonight.
So shall I not, and so I pray to you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence both with eye and tongue, and safe the while that we must love our honors in these flattering streams, and make our faces visors to our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must believe this.
Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest Banquo is flailing sleuths.
But in them nature's copy is not a charm.
There's comfort yet. They are still. And be thou jocund. And the bat hath flown his cloister flight. Ere to black-headed summons the shard-worn beetle with his drowsy hums, hath rung night's yawning peal. There shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
The innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, the thou applaud with me. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to troop and drowse, whilst night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelest at my words, but hold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So pray you go with me.
Who did bid thee join with us?
Macbeth,
He needs not our mistrust, since he delivers our offices and what we have to do to the direction just.
Then stand with us. The west gate glimmers with some streaks of day. Now spurs the lated traveler apace to gain the timely inn, and near approaches the subject of our watch.
Hark! I hear horses.
Give us a light there, ho!
Then 'tis he. The rest that are within the court are already within the note of expectation.
His horses go about.
Almost a mile, but he does usually. So all men do. From hence to the palace gate make it their walk.
A light, a light.
He's coming. Stand to it.
Will it rain tonight?
Let it come down! Ah! Ah! Oh, treachery!
Fly, good fellow! Fly, fly, fly! Thou is revenge, O slave!
Peter, strike up a light.
What's not the way?
There's the one down the sun is fled.
We have lost the
confined, cabin, cribbed, confined, bound in with saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo said,
My lord, safe in a ditch he lies, with 20 drenched gashes in his chest, the least adapt to nature.
thanks for that. There the growing serpent lies. The worm that's bred of nature that in time will venom bring. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
My worthy lord, you do not give the cheer. The feast is sold, but is not often vouched. While 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome, to feed were best at home. From hence, the sauce to meat is ceremony, meetings were bare without.
Sweet remembrancer. Now good digestion wait on appetite and health on both. Here have we now our country's honor roofed, or the grace and person of our Banquo present, whom now we rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please set your highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, but is that lose your highness?
Which of you have done this?
Done what, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy glory locks at me.
My lord, his highness is not well. Say it, worthy friends, my lord is often thus and hath been from his youth. Pray you keep seat, though it is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. Are you a man?
I in a bold one that dare look on that which might have pulled the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. These flaws and starts. Imposters to true fear would well become a woman's story and a Luther's fire authorized by her grandam. Shame itself, why do you make such faces? In the end you look but on a stool.
See there! Behold! Look! No! How say you? Why, what care I? If thou canst not, speak too! If charnel houses at our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the maws of kites!
What, quite imagine folly?
I stand here, I saw him!
Fie for shame.
Blood hath been shed ere now. In the olden time, as human statutes purged the gentle wheel. Aye, and since too, murders have been performed too terrible for the ear. The time has been that when the brains were out, the man would die and there an end. But now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crowns and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all, then I'll sit down. I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss, would he were here. To all in him we thirst, and all to all. Avaunt and cool my sight! Let the cold earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold. There was no speculation in those eyes which thou compare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
Would men dare? I dare. Approach thou like a rugged Russian bear, the arm, my nostrils so the hypern tiger. Take thou any shape but that, and my firm nerve shall never tremble. Or be alive again and dare me to the desert with thy sword. Your trembling I have that protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence. What so? Being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be, and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange even to the disposition that I know, when now I think you can behold such sights, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blenched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night, and better health and time.
A kind good night to all.
I secretest man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with the morning, which is which?
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them, but in his house I keep a servant fee. I will tomorrow. Betimes I will to the weird sisters. More shall they speak, for now I'm bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine are good, but all causes shall give way. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as going on. Strange things I have in my head that will to hand, which must be altered ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet, but young indeed.
Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
Round about the cauldron go, in the poison entrails throw. Toad that under cold stove, days and nights has 31, sweltered, venom sleeping got. Boil thou first in the charmed pot.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, which is mummy, maw, and gulf. Of the ravened salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of a birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, and whereto a tiger's chaudron, for the ingredients of our cauldron.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wickedly sway comes. Open mouths, whoever knows.
And now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is to do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you, by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on their borders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the power of nature's germans tumble all together, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak!
Demand!
We'll answer.
Say, if thou wouldst rather hear it from our mouths, or from our masters.
Oh, let me see him.
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten her nine pharaoh breath that sweatened. In the murderer's gibbet throw, into the flame! Come high or low, thyself and office deftly show. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth! Beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me, enough.
Whate'er thou art with thy good coat and dice, thou taught my fear of life, but one word more.
You will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth.
Having 3 years I hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance, double sure, and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale murdered fear it lies and sleep in spite of thunder. What is this that rises like the issue of a king, and wears upon its baby brow the rounded top of sovereignty?
Listen, but speak not to it.
Be bloody bold and take no care. Who chafes, who frets, or where conspires are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be, till great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill maketh their walk.
That will never be. Who can unfix the forest, bid the tree unfix his earthbound root? Sweet bodements good, rebellion's head, rise never till the wood of Birnam rise, and our high-placed Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more!
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know.
Show!
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 Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
Too like the spirit of Banquo down, thy crown to sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, though other gold-brown brow is like the first, the third is like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this abhorrent? Start, eyes, what? Do the lines stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet? A seventh? I'll see no more. And yet the eighth appears who bears a glass would show me many more. And some I see that 2 full balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight! What is this so?
Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay.
The very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now to crown my thoughts with acts, let it be thought and done. The castle of Macbeth I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword, his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool, this deed I'll do before the purpose cool.
Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father?
Nay, how will you do for a husband?
What, if I was 20 at any market?
Then you'll Brian do so again.
The God help thee, poor monkey. How wilt thou do for a father?
If he were dead, you would weep for him. If he were not, you were your son, I should quickly have a new father.
Bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a holy man's advice, be not found here. Hence, with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage to do worse to you or felt cruelty, which is to deny your person. Heaven preserve you, I never bide no longer.
Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. I remember now, I am in this earthly world. To do harm is often laudable. To do good, sometimes accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up that woman's defense to say I have done no harm? Utterly faithless.
Where is your husband?
I poked his real pistol and sent him out such as thou next London.
He's a traitor.
How liest thou, shag-haired villain?
What, you egg? Rough fried treachery!
His guilty mother, run away, I pray you.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there when our sad bosoms empty,
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men bestride our downfallen birthday. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds, as if it felt the Scotland, and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
But I believe I'll wail, but no, believe. And what I can address, as I shall find the time to friend, I will. What you spoke, it may be so perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well, he hath not touched yet. I know, but something may discern of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor innocent lamb to appease the angry God.
I am not treacherous.
But Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge, but I shall crave your pardon. The which wrong hearts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, with the brightest fell. Though all things bow with the vows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Perchance even there were I to find my doubts. Why not bond such a lovely child? His precious motives, his strong knots of love without leave taking. I pray, and on my jealousies be your dishonors, and mine unsafeties. He may be rightly just, whatever I shall think.
Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy bases sure, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs, the titles of fear. Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkst, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot.
Be not offended, I speak out of absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath you. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day gashes out of your wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right, and here from gracious England have I offer of good medallions. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer and more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is my sovereign, in whom I know all particulars of vice so grafted that, when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared to my crown's harms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
I grant him bloody, luxurious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name. But there's no bottom, none, in my maliciousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust. My desire all continent impediments would overbear if they oppose my will. Better Macbeth with such an one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It has been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and the fall of many kings. But do not fear to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet sing cold. The time you may so hoodwink, we have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined.
With this there grows, in my most ill-composed affection, such a stanchious avarice that, were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels in this other's house, and my more having to be as a saucepan to be hungry more, that I should forge quarrels, unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth.
This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious fruit than summer-seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear. Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will of your mere own. All these are portable, with other graces waived.
But I have none. The kingly graces is justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting in many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar all universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland!
If such a one be fit to govern, speak, I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant, bloody sceptered, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? Since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed, and his blasphemous breed. Thy royal father was a most sainted king. The queen that bore thee ofter upon her knees than on her feet died every day she lived. Fare thee well, Lord. These evils thou repeats upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macbeth, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, that many of these trains have sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-credulous haste. But God above deal between me and thee. For even now I put myself to that direction, unspeak mine own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to woman, never was forsworn, scarcely have envied what was mine own, at no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his fellow, and delight no less in truth than life. My first false speaking was this upon myself. What I am truly is thine and mine poor countries to command. Whither indeed, for the here approach, old seers with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point of setting forth. Now, pull together, and the chance of goodness be like a reward to the quarrel. What of your son?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once. 'Tis hard to reconcile.
Well, more not. Comes the king forth for you?
I sir. There are a crew of wretched souls that stay his care. Their malady convinces the great essay of art, but at his touch such sanctity hath heaven to resound. They presently are met.
Thank you, Doctor.
What's the disease he means?
'Tis called the evil, a most miraculous work in this good king, which often, since my here remained in England, I have seen him do. How he solicits, heaven himself best knows, but strangely visited people, all swollen and ulcerous, pitiful to the eye, a mere despair of surgery, he cures, hanging a golden stamp about their necks, put on with holy prayers. And 'tis spoken, to the succeeding royalty he leaves a healing benediction. With this strange virtue, he hath the heavenly gift of prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne that speak in full praise.
See, who comes here?
My cousin, but yet I know him not.
My ever gentle cousin. Welcome hither.
I know him now. Good God, the times remove the means that makes us strangers.
Sir, amen.
Stand Scotland where it did?
Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave. Where nobody who knows nothing is once seen to smile, where shrieks and groans rend the air, and men wither before the flowers in their caps, dying or are they sicker.
Oh, relation too nice, and yet too true.
What's the news, Grace?
Though an hour doth hiss the speaker, each minute seems a new one.
How does my wife?
Why, well,
And all my children?
well too.
The tyrant has not battered at their peace?
They were well at peace when I did leave them.
But not later to speak. How goes it?
When I did leave the country, when I came hither to transport the tidings which I have heaven born, there ran a rumor of many men who went about rebelling against the tyrant in many ways. This is the time when we need your eye in Scotland. You can make our women fight and off their dire distresses.
Be it their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good seaward 10,000 men, an older and a better soldier, none that Christendom gives out.
Wish I could answer the comfort with the like. But the news I have borne should be howled out in the desert air, or no living ear should latch on it.
What concern they? The general cause? Or is it a fee grief due to some single breast?
It pertains mostly to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it.
Let not your ears despise my tongue forever for the words they have most heavily borne.
I guess at it.
Your castle is surprised, your wife and babes savagely slaughtered, to relate the manner of dear, and to add the death.
Merciful heaven, what man, never pull your hat upon your brows, give sorrow words. The grief that does not speak whispers the overwrought heart and bids it break.
All my children?
Women, children, servants, all that can be found.
And I must be from thence. My wife killed too?
I have said,
Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
He has no children. Did you say all? Oh, Hellkite. All? What, all my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop?
Dispute it like a man.
I will do so. But I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine, fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes and brag with my tongue. The gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. Front to front bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself. Within my sword's length set him. If he escape, heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes mad. Come, go we to the king. Our powers are ready. Our lack is nothing but our lead. Macbeth is ripe for shaking, and the powers above are on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day.
Rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, and afterwards seal it, that all this man most fast asleep.
In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That's so which I will not report after her.
You mean to me, and 'tis most meet you should.
Neither do you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Lo, you she comes. Is this a dairy rise, and upon my life fast asleep, observe the same close.
How can she by that light?
It's stood by her, she has light by her continually, 'tis her command.
You see her eyes are open.
But their senses shut.
See what she does now. Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action rather than to save us washing her hands. I have known her continue in this a quarter of an hour.
Yet, here's a spot.
Our earth speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my mind is the most strong.
Out, damn spot. Out, I say. 1, 2, why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and a beard. What ink we fear who knows it when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
Do you mark that?
The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What will these hands dare be clean? No more of that, my lord. No more of that. You'll mar all with this starting.
Go to, you have no way you should not.
She has spoken what she should not, I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known.
Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh!
What a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged.
Oh, not of a heart as that, much only to the dignity of the whole body.
Wow.
Thank God at least.
This disease is beyond my practice. Yet, I have known those who have walked in their sleep, who have died heavily in their beds.
Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried. He
I cannot take with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall e'er have power on thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by, and the heart I bear, shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear. The devil damn me like a cream-faced loon. Where dost thou let us look?
There's 10,000
Geese, villain?
soldiers, sir.
Oh, prick thy face and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers catch? Death of thy soul, those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface?
The English force will please you.
Take thy face hence. Satan! I'm sick at heart when I behold Satan, I say! This push will cheer me ever or deceive me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the seer, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age, as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan!
What is your gracious pleasure?
What is more?
All is confirmed, my lord Richard's report.
I'll fight till for my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor.
'Tis not needed yet.
I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Gird the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me my armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased, pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, and with some sweet, oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart?
Therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dogs, I'll none of it. Come, put my armor on. Give me my staff. Satan, send out. Doctor, the things fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. What rhubarb, kine, or what purgative drug would scour these English tents? Hearest thou of them?
Aye, sir, your royal preparation makes us hear something.
Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane. I'll Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Were I from Dunsinane away and there cross it again, shall hardly draw me home.
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand the chambers will be safe.
We doubt it nothing.
But what is this before us?
The wood of Burnham. Let every soldier hew him down a bow and bear it before him. The rash shall overshadow the numbers of our host, and make discovery ere the part of us.
There are no other that the confident tyrant keeps still and Dunsinane from the door or setting down before us.
'Tis his main hope. For where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrain things whose hearts are absent to.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
The time approaches that we will due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we are. Without speculative of our untrue hopes relate, but certain entry strokes must arbitrate, towards which advance the war.
Hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still they come. Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we would have met them dareful, beard to beard, and beat them backward home.
to fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fellow care would have a dismal trees rouse and stir as life were in it. I have supped full with horrors. Diamonds, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me. Wherefore would I cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. My story quicker.
Gracious my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave.
Let me endure your wrath if it be not so. Within this 3 miles you may see it coming. I say, a moving grove.
If thou speaks false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive till famine cling thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution, and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not, till Burnham wood do come to Dunsinane, and now a wood comes toward Dunsinane. Arm, arm, and out! If this which he avouches do appear, there is no flying hence nor tearing here. I begin to be weary of the sun, and wish the state of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell! Blow, wind! Come rack! At least we'll die with harness on our back.
Make all our trumpets speak, give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
They tie me to a stake. I cannot fly, but bear-like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one I am to fear or none.
What is thy name?
Don't be afraid to hear.
No, though thou callest thyself a hotter name than enemies in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
The devil himself cannot pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear.
No, nor more fearful.
Thou liest, a poor tyrant. With this sword I'll prove the lie thou speakest.
Thou wast born of woman. On swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn. Brandished by a man that's of a woman born.
still. I cannot strike the wretched kerns whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattered edge I sheathe again undeeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great noise the greatest note seems rooted. Let me find him fortune, and more I beg not.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on my own sword? For as I see lives, my gashes do better upon them. Turn, hellhound, turn. Of all men else I've avoided thee. But get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out.
Thou losest labor. As easy mayest thou the entrenchant air with thy keen sword impress as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on venerable crest. I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of woman born.
Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee, Macbeth was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Accursed be the tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of men. And let these juggling fiends be no more believed that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rare monsters are, painted on a pole and there under it, here may you see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground before a young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with a rabble's curse. Though Burnham would do come to Dunsinane, and thou oppose being of no woman born, yet would I try the last. Before my body, I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damn be him that first cries, hold, enough!
Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great a day, this is cheaply bought. Here comes newer comfort.
Hail, King, still thou art! Behold, where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds.